All right. Woo. Look. I got that wow. Who wants some hands up right now? We got that. Turn it up loud. I know you're wondering how. I got that wow. Here I go, coming. I can't ever stop. I'm a tour de force running. Get me to the top. I don't need an invitation. I'm about to start a celebration.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Three Cocktails In. You've got the three cocktails right here. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hi.
So good to see you all here again.
And you.
Your guys' week is going well. There are big happenings right now in Stacey's world.
There are.
We're
on
close. Yeah.
Baby
We're on
watch.
Baby watch. Yeah, baby watch.
Oh my gosh.
Grandson number 1. So we'll see. It's getting close.
That's
super exciting.
so exciting.
It is exciting.
All right. So
it is.
Yeah, keep us updated. And actually, by the time this episode drops, he will have made his entrance. So we will be sure to update you.
Yes.
Update you next week.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
We could have done a pool in March Madness sort of thing. We should have done a pool.
Yeah.
What time will the baby deliver, and how much will the baby weigh, and how long?
Yes. We have a family one that has quite a few people. So
awesome.
Yeah.
This totally
I've been wrong. Yeah, I've been wrong on the sex and the day. You know, if today or tomorrow's the day, I'm not even close.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah. When you messaged this morning and said that she was going to be induced, I'm like, wait a minute. So how much early is it?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
2 weeks.
All right. Well,
All 3 of mine were 2 weeks early.
Yeah. Yeah. I picked mine were all later on time. So yeah.
Cool. Well, awesome. We look forward to hearing more about that. So you guys, I have been thinking so much about our conversation last week with Shannon.
Wasn't she good?
She was so good, and I've been telling all of my friends about her. She's hopefully she's gotten a whole bunch of new Instagram followers in the last week, and she'll get more. So for those of you listening or watching, if you didn't tune into last week's episode, be sure that you do. Go back and catch that one. We talked with Shannon, who is an amazing coach. How did she describe herself again?
A transitions
coach.
Yep.
Yeah. And particularly dealing with the messy middles, which I think is such a cool way to talk about those in-between phases of our lives where you just need somebody to kind of help coach you through the thought process and action moves as well.
Yes.
So
yes. Well, I got my contract from her. I'm committing to this, so I can provide updates as we go. I'm really interested in learning to sit with ease. Poor Shannon. She really, I don't know. Maybe I'll be a test case or something.
Right.
Yeah.
You might be a good challenge.
Yeah. You have any idea what she's getting herself into?
Right. No.
Oh, she can do it.
Yeah.
If anybody can fix me, it can be Shannon.
Yeah.
I think that's not how we're supposed to think about that.
No.
But.
No. I agree. After the couple of weeks here I've had, I really need to consider it just based on some work issues and just you know what I mean. Just like that messy stuff, how I should be processing it, honestly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that kind of ties into what we're talking about today.
That's what we're going to talk about today. Yeah. And so again, listeners and viewers, the way that we pick our topics for these conversations, it literally is what is going on right now in our lives. So the three of us are always chatting. We have a little group chat and we're always, here's what's going on. Here's what's going on. And then all of a sudden somebody will say, that's our next topic. That's it. That's what we need to talk about. So we're going to talk about these, the trials and tribulations that we have in our personal lives and in our work lives, and how do we manage the emotions that come with this shit that we kind of find ourselves in the middle of from time to time. What's going on, you guys?
I'm just going to say that I have two different pools of reactions. I have the family personal life reaction, and then I have the professional reaction. And the filter that I have to turn on in my professional world is so tight because when I get blindsided by something or something really pisses me off, it's not pretty. I fully admit I come from a family of yellers. And it's not always directed at somebody, but there's a lot of big emotions and instantaneous, that sort of thing, and it comes out. And then seeing that I can't do that at work, I'm a crier. And there is nothing worse than getting so frustrated that you can feel the tears coming at work.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I have the same reaction. When I get really, really angry about something, it comes out in tears. And what I hate about that is that I feel like it looks like a weakness. Right? I'm not crying because I'm sad or I'm like, I didn't get my way, anything like that.
Yeah.
I have the same reaction, Amy. When I get really angry, that's how it comes out. And I used to work with a woman who she if she ever saw another woman cry at work, she would be like, you do not cry at work. That is weakness. And she felt really strong
about it.
Scary.
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah. So that's probably me. I don't tell people. I mean, I would tell you, don't cry. I would say that. But I don't go after somebody and say, don't do it. But, just because for me, I'm not a crier anyway, it has to be pretty sad and pretty, you know what I mean? The usual sad stuff. For me, it's just like Amy said, it's anger. And that's the part that even, like you say, at work, it's different. For me, it isn't necessarily, I'm going to come off right away as being very PO'd, and it's not all, and it's hard to explain because it's usually that I can't process it fast enough. You know what I mean? I think I look really pissed. You know what I mean? When when the wheels are just turning, like I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm probably saying stuff I don't mean, or don't mean to say out loud. You know what I mean? Am I explaining that at all?
So what you're saying is that it's easy for people to know when you're pissed because of your body language, your facial expression, and you probably do let a few things come out in the
and I don't even know if all of the time I really end up being mad. It's just, for me, it's I want it to go a certain way. I've planned it, not that it's perfect, but any little big, change that comes at you, things that just go downhill fast. I'm trying to figure out my reaction. You know what I mean? So it probably looks like I'm, and I just feel like it takes me longer to figure out what my reaction should be. I may not be totally PO'd. I'm just trying to work through it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you wish that wasn't your response? Or are you okay with it? You're just like, this is just how I am.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, nobody wants to be thought of as the, mean old witch. You know what I mean? But I also will not cry. I also will not. There's only been one time I cried. That was, a logical time is after, the day after my boss died, we kind of had a Zoom and it's just everybody was, down and out.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'm going to call you out on saying the logical time.
Well, because it was a sad.
So
You know what I
crying
mean?
because
Like,
you're sad is logical, but
yeah.
crying for any
Yes.
other reason is not.
Yes.
Why is one emotion, is it okay to cry? And another emotion, it's not okay to cry. Emotion's emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have an answer to that. I'm just throwing it out there because I find that very interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, that's maybe that didn't come out right, that's a time. I just feel like, sad things are different than angry things. And for me, angry doesn't come across as teary and you know what I mean? So
I will say that
so
in real
explain
estate,
to me why you guys do. I mean, why does that? Do you know why it does come out as that? Is it frustration?
oh, it's for me, it's frustration. It's usually where I get really angry is because the situation is something that could have been avoided, and somewhere along the line, in spite of my best efforts, it's gotten fucked up somewhere. And I can't call somebody out on it because that's not good. I can't fix it. And now it's up to somebody else. And all I want to do is, I don't want to pitch a fit, but I want to pitch a fit. I want to say, how in the fucking hell has it gotten to this point? Why are we dealing with this now? Who dropped the ball? None of these things help because the situation is what it is and you have to move forward and address it. But that's how I react when shit goes south. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? And because I can't say any of that, I just feel it like welling up inside me and the little itty bitty tears come out instead of bad words.
So
and I will
maybe
say,
that's
fortunately,
better. Yeah, maybe that's better, and we need to get over the stigma of crying at work. Is that what we're saying? That's a better reaction? Because what are the other choices? I mean,
well, I will say this, that I mean, it's the only time that I cried at my current company was on a day that I just felt there was so much going on in the world that was awful. Okay, with with the war and all of the horrible things that have been happening in this last year worldwide, there was a day that the news hit me hard. And then I ended up sitting down with my boss to have a conversation about something else. And I was completely overcome by the emotion and I cried. So that's different. I wasn't crying because I was angry about something that happened at work. I'm saying this to say that in recent years, I would say in the last 3 to 5 years, I manage it so much better that I don't let things that happen, things that go wrong at work. Let's just isolate work right now. I manage it so much better than I used to. And when I was preparing for this conversation today, I at first was thinking, as I've matured, but I don't want to say that because I don't want that to come across as, well, I'm more mature now, so I don't let those things bother me. That's not what I'm saying. But I do have a better ability to not get riled up about them and just look at it rationally. And I don't know. I don't do deep breathing. I don't, there's no specific method that I've all of a sudden started doing but I have found that in these last like 3 to 5 years, I just look at it and I'm like, all right, okay, let's sit down, talk about it, figure out what our solution is going to be.
Yeah,
And I'm
I would like
grateful
to
for that.
qualify.
Yeah.
You know, in real estate, I'm not often in front of people when I figure out something's gone to shit. Um, I I'm in a model home by myself, primarily where I'm working. That's my office. So
Mhm.
when I do hear things that have gone, bananas, I'm not reacting in front of anybody. I am very good at keeping the poker face on
Yeah.
if if I have a client or a buyer there.
Mhm.
If and real estate is a little salty, I will say that people who get into real estate, majority of the people that I've met, they got some salty language that flows when it's just us sort of thing. And maybe it's because there is a lot of frustration involved and a lot of if you're selling used homes, you might you work a lot with somebody to get one sale, and it might take a super long time. So there is a frustration level. So in that instance, I know where the boundaries are, but I had a horrible day last week, and on top of it, I had a migraine, and something happened that, in my opinion, should have been way on somebody's radar that's not part of the company I work for. It's company adjacent, but it caused a massive domino effect. And I had a
Mhm.
whole bunch of stuff that just had to get redone. And we couldn't fix any of it until this adjacent company did. And I fortunately was by myself that day, and I felt sick to my stomach about everything that could have been affected, because even at that point I didn't know how far it was going to go, and I didn't feel good. And thank God nobody was there, because I just put my head down and the tears came. I was just like, I cannot believe this is happening, sort of deal.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I don't cry so much, but I think, Kitty, you hit on something, and I'm not there yet.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just not part of me. I know that I need to have this division between work. Work is work. It's not, fortunately, my work is not heart transplants.
Mhm.
And, I'm very fortunate in that the people that are buying homes and moving in are not going to be homeless if something goes crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, there can be some pretty big financial burdens if things can't happen as they're planned out,
Yeah.
because they might, for instance, close on one house and can't get into the next one. Where do you do with your stuff and your
Yeah.
movers and whatever. um but that is something that I've always had a problem, and not having this line between what I can control, or what work is.
Mhm.
Am I explaining that? Do you know what I mean? That I don't separate myself from work
Yeah.
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 very well.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about it, we spend an awful lot of time at work, compared to home. So, it becomes, a big, huge part of your life. So obviously I think things at home drag into work, and work obviously goes home with you. So I think that's normal for most people.
Stace, you had a pretty big frustration happen
Yeah.
last
So
week,
my
both at work and at
Oh,
home.
yes, and
You
at
had
home. And so
couple different reactions.
yes, all of it piled at the same time was interesting. I've talked about how awesome my little 4-person team is, and that kind of got shuffled all of a sudden. So
Oh
I'm
no.
having a hard time with this was the plan, and even the future plan is getting a little messy. And it's that same thing we talked about so early in the podcast: expectation, what we how we planned for it and what our expectation was, and now again it's getting a little messed around. So, and like I said, just frustrating. That's it. And then you pile on top of a, goofy, I'm going to call it dumb thing my husband did, who he doesn't think it's dumb. I think it's dumb, right? So typical. And it is dumb, but I was PO'd. I will let you know. I was PO'd, and it took me a while to get over it. So it's just that kind of stuff where you have all of this, going on at the same time can be hard to deal with all at the same time.
Yeah. So we have to be able to, in those moments, just stop. And it's like, let things around you or remove yourself from all of those things around you. One of the things that I do is that I will go to a quiet place. I will make sure that I'm by myself. I can't hear anything. I don't want the TV on. I don't want music on, nothing. And I just need to sit quietly and close my eyes. I don't meditate. I don't know. I mean, all of that would be a really good thing, but I just remind myself to just stop. And something that an old pastor of mine used to always say, and I love the phrase, he would say, listen for the quiet. And I love that. So that is one thing that I do in those moments.
Yeah.
There's just too much shit, too much chaos going around us. Just stop and let yourself just be quiet for a little bit.
I caught a little short clip of Mel Robbins this week that, a little different topic, but it was about happiness. Happiness is the little things. So you find you're happy in, what a nice day it is when you wake up, and, for the coffee drinkers, your nice, your nice cup of coffee in the morning makes you feel happy, and, just little things along your day, and, trying to tune out all the negative stuff and focus inward on your, the good stuff of the day.
Yeah. And sometimes that's easier said than done.
For sure. Yeah.
I started having, things aren't, well, just going to say, things aren't always rosy. You guys know, I love my job. I work for a really great company. But things aren't rosy every day. And we can say that across the board. We see rosy on social media all the time. Okay. Yeah. So on Sunday this past week, I started not looking forward to Monday morning.
Ooh.
And it came out in the form of a full welts rash all over my neck and my chest. Welts, massive welts.
Oh my gosh.
And wow. So that wasn't a moment where I could just say, okay, I just need to be quiet for a little bit. I was having a physical reaction.
Yeah. Quiet wasn't going to fix it.
No, quiet wasn't going to fix it. So it's like it can come out in physical ways as well. And so then, all right, I'm wearing a turtleneck to work the next day, right? I don't want my boss to see this. Like, what does she have?
Yeah, that's good.
So in that case, if we're on a scale between swearing, tears, and hives, I'm going to say swearing and tears might be the better alternative.
I think so. Yeah, hives would be at the low end of that one.
Maybe that should, how you have safe words, or people have safe words and stuff. Maybe that should be code for like your friends, how you doing, or your coworker at work, and you're like, is it swearing or hives today? And you can say, about tears. somewhere between,
tears,
swearing and tears.
Yeah. The next day it's like, yeah, I have hives, don't, but it's that bad.
When somebody says, I need to tell you something, you can say, wait, is this going to induce swearing, tears, or hives? Because I'm going to need a minute.
Yeah.
I'd like you to save it. I'd like you to say it from the doorway and then step back quickly, shut the door on the way out.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
So what do you do at home? I mean, all of us now we're dealing with adults. Kitty, you still have Bo at home. So, he's a child. I mean, children are always our children, regardless of age. Okay. So we might approach them a little differently. What do you do with that partner that has just stepped in it, backed the dump truck up and dumped a whole pile of crap at your feet?
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. That's for sure. Yeah.
I don't have a lot to offer on this particular topic.
I don't either. I think, don't you think everyone is different and you just deal differently? That makes no sense, but you know what I mean? You know how the two of you react to things. I would say my husband he backs away and just lets me go at it, and which is almost as frustrating because then he won't say anything.
He won't engage.
No. Nope.
I don't have anything to offer because Bill and I we don't disagree on much, and we really don't fight. We never have. We don't agree on everything, but there's never been something that he's done that has sent me off the deep end. It's just we don't have that. Now, yes, of course, there are things that, he's 22 years old and shares a house with us. I'm just going to say he's not a very good roommate. He really isn't. So we deal with those sorts of things. And I am also a yeller. I always have been. When I was growing up, if you ask my parents, when I was growing up, I don't think I was a yeller then, but I was a door slammer. And then as I grew up and became a mother, that ended up in the form of yelling. So it's frustrating when you're trying to get through to someone, here at home. So I'll just use that dynamic between, parent and child, trying to get some logic through, and they don't have any time for it. They're not going to listen because they know everything. And I get louder and louder and louder, and then they do the exact same thing. I think that's probably pretty normal.
Yeah,
I do. I don't know if I might have said this in the beginning, but I grew up in a family that yelled. My mom and dad yelled and fought, and it wasn't pretty, but it was instantaneous. They got it off their chests, and an hour later, they'd look at each other and be like, "Oh, okay. So do you want to go get something for dinner, or you want to go golf?" I mean, it was just like this. There was no pent up animosity my household did not have the long, slow burning fuse. It was, we're pissed. We're going at it. It's over. It's done. We've said what we needed to say. There's some sort of acknowledgement on both parties' sides. And an hour later, okay, now it's like it's all better. I'm not saying that's healthy. I'm not saying it's healthy. I acknowledge it, and I do try and bring it up, especially now as I am dating different people. How do you resolve conflict is a great question. What kind of household did you grow up in? What happens? How do you deal with these things? And I have not situations. I had two occurrences with two different guys where we started talking about something and I knew it wasn't going to go well. We had clearly clearly opposing views. One was religion, one was politics.
Yeah.
And so my answer to that was, in the spirit of trying to be, I don't want to, I'd love to say I was open-minded, but on those two things, I'm not super open-minded. But what I've come to realize is, if we don't have to talk about this one issue, and if we could both acknowledge that we're just not going to talk about this, it just doesn't have to be a thing, I can be good with this.
Those are pretty big things, though.
Big things, though.
But you don't sit around and talk about religion. If both of us have similar morals,
Yeah.
And we're kind to people, if our approach to life is the same, to me it doesn't matter if somebody believes XYZ and I believe ABC, if the end result is living the same way. Okay?
Yeah.
The other one was politics, which for me is a huge thing. I'm trying to not be that way about it, but like so many people now, it's very polarizing.
Yeah.
But I said this to this person, and I said, I don't think this is going to work. This is not going to really work for me. I don't want to have these conversations. And it turned into him continuing to explain his position and continuing to question me and question me and question me. And I kept saying, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about this. I've been very clear. I don't want to talk about this. Well, I mean, it's fine. We can each believe what we want to believe. But don't you think?
Oh,
no. Nope.
No. And I am out. That one, I was like, okay. And in both of those situations, after a couple of instances where it came back again, I just said, I'm not for you. I am not for you. If you need to find somebody who believes as you do, because clearly this is something you want to talk about.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I do want to talk about him if we agree on,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
about, I don't want to talk about
be
this.
a future fight forever, Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Mind-boggling.
That is a really good question. As you're dating, how do you deal with conflict? I think that is a good conversation to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as you're getting to know people, you don't know if they're telling you the truth. You won't really know until you actually have a conflict, and you then experience truly how they deal with conflict. But knowing that you grew up in a household where your parents yelled and fought, I would hope that you don't look at that and think that that's normal, because
No, I don't.
no, okay, because I'm not proud of when I have yelled at Bo. As parents, we don't know what we're doing when we're raising our kids. There's no freaking manual. And if I could go back and do one thing over again, that would be it. That I would have taught myself to, with all of the stuff that we went through with Bo, and maybe we'll get into that on a future episode. Yelling at him was not the right way to raise him. It wasn't. Yeah. And I wish that I could go back and do that over again.
Yeah.
But I would just say nobody should yell at anybody.
Yeah. And we're circling back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. We're circling back to the beginning on how that goes. And when you get so frustrated and so upset, for some people that's what happens. And, I admire the people that can just pause and, not react that way. But at the same time, you also don't want to just hold it in and then it's, your thing to deal with alone. That's probably not right either.
No, you have to be able
and
to.
I would go so far as to say how you parent is different than frustration with an adult who should, the two, especially an adult in a relationship that you're with, where you would expect that there is commonality and being on the same page and, these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do something, or, vice versa. I'm not saying, I mean, I know for a fact that I did things like bring home a cat one Christmas to give the girls for a Christmas present. I told him I was going to do it and he was not happy and I did it anyway, which then came back to bite me in the ass when he brought home the lab puppy. Now I claim that is, he said that was the same. I'm going to say no, because cats are cats.
Yeah.
And I was at home. So I was the one in charge of taking care of all of it. So I knew the cat was going to be my responsibility, but he brought that puppy home after we already had a dog, a cat, and 3 kids. And that was my responsibility. But, we joked about it later. But you're right. You don't want I don't think you should have to suck it up. Maybe you got to suck it up in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that experience of, I'm not heard unless I get loud. I'm not, I mean, and that was, I'm hoping to weed out that in somebody.
Yeah.
Can we have discussions
Mm-hmm.
without having to be loud? But if I am loud, can you just take it as that pot on the stove just needed to get that steam out of the lid was wiggling and the steam had to go, and then it'll be fine. Take the lid off and everything's better.
Vent for a minute and let it go, and then you can just and I think that helps even internally. You spill it all, and then it does make you kind of feel better. So,
I did have one guy that I was talking to who did say to me, I'm willing to talk about anything you want to talk about, but please don't yell at me.
Oh.
And I was like,
okay.
That's awesome to meet somebody who's very clear on this is a deal breaker for me. I will not engage once it becomes yelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good for him for stating that.
Yeah. Right. And for knowing.
Mm-hmm. And for knowing how he's going to deal with things.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe my comment to these new people that I meet is, hey, just to let you know, I may go off for about 3 to 5 minutes and then I'll settle down and be very receptive to having a conversation.
Like a pre-warning.
Just let me go and then I'll come back.
Well, I think that's and I think that is normal. It's the emotion. I mean, there's the science of the brain comes into play here, and this was a lot of what I learned when Bo was younger, and we were learning how to parent with his situation. And the doctor said to me, when there's an emotional reaction, when it's fight or flight, whatever that is, and you are angry, this hormone comes up over and it saturates your brain. And in that moment, there is nothing that anybody else can say to you that will get through. You have to wait until that hormone subsides, and then you become rational again. And now you can have a conversation. So that was one thing that we had to learn here. When things escalated with Bo, we had to walk away. We couldn't do this. We had to back up. We had to let him cool down, and then we could actually have a rational conversation with him. And it's the same thing that you're describing, Amy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd be really curious to know. We have some listeners who are they work in the corporate world. We have listeners that are teachers. We have listeners. I can't even imagine how teachers keep their shit together all day. I love teachers and I love kids. People who have children who are roommates or have grandchildren who now, I think grandchildren are, I don't know, I'm hoping they're going to be easy and lovely, but maybe they live with you. How do they not become, your second kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your kid once removed sort of thing.
I think that would be a hard situation just because everybody's grandparent is, the nicest person, you don't think of your parents as that, but your kids think your parents are that, you know what I mean? Yep. So, that dynamic I think would be hard. Yeah. Yes. Pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I have a feeling that we will talk more about this, as we go on. And yeah, as Amy said, if those of you who are listening or watching, if you've got input here, drop a comment, drop us a message. We always love to hear from you. Love to hear from your experiences as well.
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah, for sure.
With that, Stacey, I think you need to go check in at the hospital.
I left my phone in the other room just so just so I wouldn't be checking it and looking at it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Great. Well,
hey, I have a shot. I have a shot in a future topic that I hope comes up shortly. I've been doing, it's beautiful weather here in Minnesota. It's 50 some degrees in early March. And so I've been keeping my eye on some spring clothing, getting ready to buy things. I got a whole lot of what the hell is going on. I'm hoping everybody could take a look around them. Take a look in the stores, and I think we need to talk about what is happening on the spring fashion. And I know we said we can wear whatever we want and get loud as we get older, but some of this stuff, somebody needs to put a lid on it, push it to the back of the closet. This stuff just is not going to fly for me.
Where the hell did the barrel leg jeans come from? And why?
Yeah, why?
Why are we putting square pockets on the front of our jeans?
Ooh.
Put a fucking bullseye on yourself right there. I mean, what are...
Yeah, take a look right there. That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I mean...
Does this make my butt look big? Yes, it does.
Yes. Well, it might as well just say, this makes my butt look big. No question needed.
Yeah, I feel like barrel leg jeans is just going to make you look big all the way down. I don't know.
And for those of us who are height challenged, it's not an option at all.
You'd be dragging your big legged jeans. Oh, funny.
All right, we can dig into that topic.
Yeah. So it's something in a magazine or a flyer that's just out there. You know who to be making comments to, because we'll investigate and we're going to bring it to the forefront so that nobody has to go out and have tears when people look at them and go, what the hell are you wearing? And let's prevent hives, people.
Yes.
Don't make the mistake. We're here to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, get well, Kitty. I hope you get rid of your hives.
Yeah. I'm going to go pop a Benadryl. And and we will see you all next week. Everybody have a good week. So good to see you.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Love you.
All right. Woo. Look. I got that wow. Who wants some hands up right now? We got that. Turn it up loud. I know you're wondering how. I got that wow. Here I go, coming. I can't ever stop. I'm a tour de force running. Get me to the top. I don't need an invitation. I'm about to start a celebration. Let me in. Brought a good time plus some friends. Turn it up loud past